Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a super sloppy sports and entertainment podcast that's hosted by a giant mess. That's me, the real cinch, Neal Lynch. I'm a former fourth-string college quarterback and mediocre middle relief pitcher who earned himself an invaluable film and media studies degree that is paying off in spades, my man. Now I'm a single dad who loves to talk Giants football, Mets baseball, movies, television, and comedy. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Giants reversing the curse and beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah! Now they lost. So we'll recap that. Pretty embarrassing. And when you think you can't be any more embarrassed, there's another level. And then we'll preview the Steelers game. And I gotta tell you, spoiler alert, we are going to crush. We're gonna smoke the steel curtain, my guy. So without further ado, let's get started on it. The New York Giants. This is a dark time. It's a very dark era. I wasn't alive in the 70s. I keep referencing the 70s because the 70s were pretty brutal for the Giants. And most of the 60s. 63 to 80. 17, 18 seasons of just dog shit. And it kind of feels like we're on pace to match that. It all started in 2012. Failed to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Failed to even make the playoffs. We're so close. And then complete dumpster fire in 2013. And it's just been 12, 13 years of just really awful football. Just so bad that I can completely 1000% understand if kids don't want to be Giants fans. I get it, man. I get it. It must suck going to school on Friday, wearing your best Giants gear, talking smack to all the Eagles fans in your class. And then Monday rolls around and you have to shuffle your tiny prepubescent body into that fucking educational institution and have to hear the jeers and the boos and the sneers, the wisecracks and the put downs. The memes. Dear God. I think about it, and I'm 43. I'm about to turn 44. I think about it every time I play the Eagles. I'm going to have to hear about this for so long. Every day. I hear about it. I've heard about it for years. Every day. I hear about it. The Eagles own the Giants. And there's no comeback for that, really, other than pulling the whole New York Yankees fan tactic of like, oh, well, we have 4 Super Bowls. How many do you have? Just, it gets old. It's such a tired comeback. We have 4 and you don't. And that's just, I don't know. Just doesn't do it for me. And I don't think it really phases Eagles fans because they get to win. They get to win against us. And that's why, like, if you go on Google Trends, trends.google.com, and you type in New York Giants, one of the related topics that comes up is Eagles-Giants rivalry. And I am here to tell you, it's not a rivalry. It hasn't been a rivalry for a very long time. We are basically the Jets. And we think that the Jets-Patriots whole dynamic is a rivalry. Like, Jets fans think the Patriots are their rival. They think that the Jets-Patriots is a rivalry, quote unquote. I have friends that are Patriots fans. It's not a rivalry. They don't view it as a rivalry at all because they dominated the Jets for so goddamn long. Giants-Eagles was a rivalry in the 80s, maybe a little bit in the 90s, the 2000s. It hasn't been a rivalry in so long. For a relationship to be a rivalry, there's got to be some back and forth. There's got to be oh, we won this one, but you won that one. And it's like it's pushing, shoving, it's tug and pull, and it's a tug of war. You hit me with a haymaker, I hit you with an uppercut. And we just go toe to toe. We match each other. Right? It's competitive. You are the rival because you're the greatest competition, the biggest competition. It's not a competition. It hasn't been a competition. Same goes with the Cowboys. Like, these are just division opponents. They're not rivals. Because we suck so fucking much, dude. That's where I'm at with the Giants. Like, we don't have rivals right now. We lose to everyone. Who is our rival? With that out of the way, when I recorded after the Bengals game, the game that was just tough on the eyeballs, really hard on the retinas and the irises, I had mentioned in that recap video that Andrew Thomas limping around a little bit, got beat a couple times by Hendrickson, and he's hobbling, and he has a history of ankle and foot injuries, and he has fully flat out come out and said it's going to be a problem his entire career. So this does not come as a shock. This does not come as a surprise. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if he misses time. Did I think he would miss the rest of the season? No, dude. So this Frank injury, which I believe is what happened to Michael Strahan in 2006 that completely derailed that season. Oh, wait, no, we still made the playoffs. The Tom Coughlin Giants, they're just different, man. They're just different. So take that as you will. Is that a veiled shade thrown at Brian Daboll? No, it's not. It's not veiled. It's full. I'm fully against Brian Daboll, 1,000%. I don't think he's the coach that we need, that we want. That just no. I am fine, completely fine with moving on from him. Lots of coaches don't have quote unquote their guy and do just fine. So, have fun being an OC somewhere else, dude. I'm over it. I guess I'm still kind of on the fence with Joe Shane. But back to Daboll for a sec. I had a conspiracy theory that Brian Daboll is trying to throw Daniel Jones under the bus. I think I had that theory in the Vikings game. Week 1, season opener. I don't think Brian Daboll likes Daniel Jones a single lick. I think he fucking hates DJ and is trotting him out there and giving him plays and is trying to quote unquote self-sabotage or sabotage Daniel Jones. Now, Daniel Jones has not helped his case at all. He's not the quarterback for us. We're going to move on from him. We absolutely have to. This is painful to watch. But Brian Daboll's doing him zero favors. And I know we've said it before. Daniel Jones is not a starting quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. I get it. But Brian Daboll is really not helping him out at all. So the conspiracy theory is kind of firing away in my brain again. Just a theory, but it's firing away. Just like my brain is on fire thinking about it, because why on God's green earth would you, when Andrew Thomas goes down at left tackle, would you put Josh Ezeudu at left tackle? A guard who doesn't play tackle, who you put in at left tackle when Andrew Thomas was out last year. And what happened? Oh, yeah. Allowed a sack on Daniel Jones that broke his fucking neck. You don't think that has some kind of psychological effect on Daniel Jones, knowing that you put the guy responsible for pretty much ending his 2023 at left tackle? You don't think that's going to have some kind of impact on Daniel, knowing that the guy that was responsible for allowing the hit that broke your neck is now back at left tackle, exactly where he shouldn't be? That has to be in the back of Daniel's mind. So we talk about his physical toughness, Daniel Jones, a lot. He's a very physically tough guy. Mentally tough, I'm not so sure. You know, I mean, yeah, he composes himself in post-game interviews and in press conferences, and He doesn't say the wrong thing. I don't know that he's really saying the right thing. I guess he's saying the politically correct thing. And he must have learned that from Eli. And, we can now see that Eli has a personality after his playing career is over. And he's actually a goofy, silly guy. And apparently Daniel Jones is a goofy, silly guy. But we're not seeing it. All we see is him spouting the same bullshit after losses. Same thing that Eli did. And I guess that's fine. Whatever. He's starting to reach the end of his rope, though. I mean, you saw in this post-game press conference, he referred to the coach as Dable and not coach. It's like, okay. You don't think there's a rift there? Okay. You got friggin' Malik Neighbors in post-game press conference, the scrum, the huddle around him being like, look at the target tape. I was open. So it is falling apart. We're looking at the end of the Brian Dable era, possibly the Joe Schoen era, I think. And Josh Azudu at left tackle, 0 cents. Illuminor has been a rock at right tackle. He can't be that much worse at left tackle. We're not asking him to play tight end or wide out or fullback. We're moving him to the other side of the line. Now, I'm not a former offensive lineman. I was a quarterback. But for fuck's sake, I mean, it's not like you asking a quarterback who's right-handed to throw with their left hand. I don't think. But anyone who wants to comment, chip in and comment and chime away about how offensive lineman, that's like a huge deal, then go for it. Illuminor at left tackle. And then I feel like we have a guy. Don't we have a guy that was like a top prospect in college? Didn't he play at like Alabama or something? And wasn't he like the 7th overall pick in the 2022 draft? What was his name? Oh, Evan Neal. Right. Still on the bench. So a guy, Josh Azudu, who was drafted in the 3rd round, 4th round, later round, kind of just a depth piece, very nice, is now playing over the elite, quote unquote, college prospect who was drafted at number 7 overall in the draft to be our starting right tackle and cannot crack the lineup. Now that is a condemnation on Joe Schoen. Can't whiff on picks, dude. Cannot whiff on picks, especially that high. You whiff on enough picks that high and you say bye-bye. Okay. Trying to compose myself here. So with Thomas gone for the season, I mean, as soon as I saw that, as soon as I heard that news, as soon as I saw that come across my timeline, I was like, season over. There is absolutely no shot of us making any kind of run for the postseason. Being the hunt, no. So we're not even November. We still have another 10, 11 days until November. Season's fucking over. The Giants season, and this is not a joke, the New York football Giants season ended before the New York Mets baseball season ended. That is incredible. That is amazing. So what did the Giants do? They go out and sign veteran offensive tackle Chris Hubbard, who was inactive on Sunday. 6'4", 295, played 100 games, 6 in the postseason. Played 4 seasons with the Steelers, 5 with the Browns, 1 with the Texans last year. Started 58 games, 51 of which were at right tackle. He also started 4 games at right guard and 3 as an extra lineman. So I guess my interpretation of that is we are going to move Illuminor to left tackle, and Chris Hubbard is going to pull a fucking Justin Pugh straight off the couch and start at right tackle. And I don't know, maybe he's got, maybe Carmen Priscillo can whip up some magic and wave his wand and all will be right in the world. That's what you're hanging on to at this point, right? But even then, dude, we won't win. We have Daniel Jones at quarterback and we have Brian Dable as our head coach. With those two people in those positions, we are not winning games. We're not. We've seen it. When we had a healthy line for 6 weeks straight, the same line for 6 weeks straight, and they were playing average to above average, the best we've seen in the Giants franchise history over the past 12 years, we still weren't winning games. We were still 2-4. So, yeah, we are now 0-4 at home for the first time since 2018. And we've scored only 1 touchdown in those 4 games, 0 of which have been passing touchdowns. We've been outscored 93-31. 93-31. The 25-point margin of defeat was the 5th largest in Brian Daboll's 3 seasons as head coach, which is, that right there is bananas. And the top 2 were losses in Dallas and the next 3 against Philadelphia, including one in the playoffs. So riddle me this. If the key to getting to the playoffs is winning your division, Brian Daboll is not winning the division. He's not winning anything in the division. We're 0-3 so far, unless something wacky happens. You know, Jaden Daniels did get hurt his ribs. Marcus Mariota comes in and still does well in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. So it's like, we're staring down the barrel of 0-6 in the division. The 3 points tied for the second fewest under Brian Daboll. Last season, we lost 40-0 to Dallas. I don't know if you remember that. And then 24-3 to Seattle. Both of which, you're not going to get this. We're at home. Is MetLife cursed? Yes. This is the 7th game of year 3 of Shane Daboll era. And the Giants' product on the field is the same as when they took over. That's a tweet that I saw. I bookmarked it, and I'm relaying it to you. That's the reality of the situation right now. And if you want to go ahead and blame injuries, I beg you to look at the fucking Rams and every other team that has dealt with injuries that is still winning football games. It's just not an excuse. And what it means is you've put yourself in a position that you're skating on thin ice. You have these all-star players that are starting, but then you have basura backing them up. Basura is Espanol for trash or garbage. You don't have depth. How do you build depth? Draft and free agency. Where's the depth? The Eagles had 20 first downs to our 10. They rushed for 269 yards and 3 touchdowns. We put up 119 total yards. That's the fewest under Brian Daboll by 31 yards. We put up 150 against the 49ers on Thursday Night Football last September. And it's our lowest total since we gained 112 yards at Tampa Bay on September 12th, 1999. That's 25 years ago. And you're not going to believe this. We actually won that game. 17-13 or something like that. We were 3 for 14 on third down. And we only had 24 minutes of possession. 43 net passing yards. Second lowest total under Daboll, which is fucking wild that there's a lower total. And it came against the Jets when we had -9 yards passing because he refused to throw the ball with Tommy DeVito, a guy that would lead us on a 3-game winning streak later on in the season. We ended up losing that game to the Jets, by the way. Don't know if you remember that. Our 10 first downs tied for the lowest total under Brian Daboll. We had 10 in the loss at San Francisco. And in a victory against New England last season, a victory that was only a victory because New England sucks dick and missed the game-tying field goal at the end of the game. Some would say that they were tanking on purpose, and that's how you tank. And they did it. And look who they have, Drake May. The Giants converted a season-low 3 third downs. 3. We averaged 2.2 yards per play. Our biggest play of the game was 14 yards. We punted 11 times That's the highest total since Jamie Gillen booted 13 times in an overtime loss to the Jets when I was on a date with my then soon-to-be girlfriend. And my, oh my, how it all went to shit. At a dive bar called Doc's. And then we had our first kiss in the parking lot. And of course, I made it weird. After the Theo Johnson touchdown was negated due to offensive pass interference, a bullshit call. But I mean, that's just par for the course for the Giants this year. It's just the referees, I don't know. They see blue, they see red, and they see yellow, apparently. They throw yellow. So tight ends, wide receivers, they do this all the time. It's never called. They decided to call it this time. Sure, why not? So it's third down. There's 9 seconds left. I don't think we have any timeouts. And we're down 14-0. And Dable kicks the field goal. Fuck you, Dable. Like, seriously. What? Why? We are a losing team in a losing season. We're probably not winning this game unless the defense, and I said this in my preview, unless the defense scores a touchdown. And I guess the philosophy, the logic, the rationale here is that you kick the 3, the defense holds, we kick another 3, the defense holds, we kick another 3, the defense holds, we kick another 3. We win 15-14. I guess that's the rationale. You're not going to take one crack at the end zone. Just one. Strange shit happens. Bizarre shit happens. Just one crack at the end zone on third down? No? Okay. You don't think we can run a play in under 9 seconds? Okay. So yeah, 14-3 at half. So congratulations, Brian Dable. You played yourself. Daniel Jones just smells. You know, I know it sounds like I'm making a lot of excuses for Daniel. And yeah, sure, I am. But also he smells. He reeks. 14-21, 99 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. It's the 4th lowest total of his career as a starter. Is negative 16.7 total expected points added. You heard that right. Negative 16 points. He added negative 17 points. He was in the 4th percentile since that is good enough for 4th percentile in 2010. So 96% of expected points added by quarterback have been better than Daniel Jones than he was on that day. He's the only starting quarterback with 0 passing touchdowns in 6 straight home games since 2000. He set the NFL record for the most consecutive home games without a touchdown pass since 1970. Was 6. It's a minimum of 20 attempts. So he did have 5 carries for 20 yards, so he's averaging 4 yards a carry. You can't ask for more than that. He was pulled in a 28-3 game, and people are saying, well, he's benched for poor play. Dable said he needed a spark from Drew Lock. Drew Lock came in and was just god awful. Fumbled twice. Couldn't connect with Jalen Hyatt down the right sideline. Hyatt drops it, cracks his ribs. He's probably out for a long time. 3 of 8 for 6 yards. Tyrone Tracy Jr. got 6 carries for 23 yards. Prior to this game, Tyrone Tracy Jr. became the second Giants rookie and first running back with 237 or more scrimmage yards in his first two career starts in the Super Bowl era. The other was wide receiver Mike Freed, who had 245 in 1980. So do with that stat what you will. I don't even remember a Mike Freed before my time. And certainly not in the Giants' top 100 players in Giants history. Devin Singletary, 5 carries, 18 yards. So yeah, there was just 0 run game for the Giants in this one. So, putting the ball in Daniel's hands. You know, I honestly think that Brian Dable is going to, as long as Daniel Jones is healthy, he's going to continue to trot him out there, and he's going to continue to start him. He's going to continue to call these plays, and he's going to continue to point at Daniel failing and be like, see, he's the reason we're losing. I gave him multiple shots. I gave him an entire season worth of tries and attempts, and he just doesn't have it, and he can't execute the offense, and we have 0 explosive plays, and he can't throw it deep. He's going to throw and show everyone that Daniel is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I mean, I guess mission accomplished, I guess, because I mean, I don't know how anyone can still defend Daniel and still think that he's a starting quarterback, or at least a starting quarterback. Okay, maybe he's a starting quarterback, but a starting quarterback that can win? He can't win. Malik Neighbors, 4 catches, 41 yards on 8 targets. Barf. Wendell Robinson, 6 catches on 9 targets for 23 yards. He averaged less than 3 yards a target. What the actual fuck are we doing? Now that is on Brian Dable. Why the fuck are you calling these plays where we're throwing the ball 3 yards? Throw the ball down the field. I don't care if Jones can't complete the ball. We need to see balls down the field. If we're going to lose, please, for the love of God, lose with some panache, with some fucking style, dude. Lose with some flair. Woo! Lose by going out with a fucking bang, dude. Fireworks and all. Lose in a blaze of glory. Do not lose this way. It sucks. If I'm sitting here and Jones is letting it rip, 50 pass attempts, he completes 20, 24, but half of those are 10 yards and beyond, 50. I mean, we're not even asking for 20 yards and beyond anymore. We're literally asking for longer than 10 yards in the air. That's how bad it's gotten. I mean, I thought the Jason Garrett offense sucked balls in 2020 and 2021. This offense is on pace to be worse than that. It's wild. 6 catches for 23 yards. There's some wild stats I'm going to get to in my Steelers preview. Stick around for that. Darius Slayton, 3 targets, 1 catch, 11 yards. The fuck's going on? Yeah. So that's the offense. The defense allowed 269 rushing yards, which I mentioned. It's the most allowed by the Giants since my birthday, 34th birthday. Happy birthday to me. November 9th, 2014, when the Seattle Seahawks ran for 350 yards. I think I had just come back from a trip to New Orleans. I can't get into the nitty gritty of that trip. I had a lot of fun, but I ended up having to record the game. And that was a tough watch. Philly also rushed for 268 yards in the NFC divisional playoff game win against the Giants in January of 2023. So nothing has changed. We're still the same. Nothing has changed. Philadelphia's 70 net passing yards were the fewest for a Giants opponent since Chicago at 51 on October 3rd, 2010. That was the game where we sacked Jay Cutler a bazillion times, and we won. So we allowed 70 net passing yards and fucking lost. Giants defense recorded 5 sacks of Philly quarterbacks. The 5th time in 7 games they've had 4 more sacks. So we had some questions about the pressure. We weren't getting pressure. That was the big knock on the defense for the first few weeks. And now we lead the league in sacks. 26 sacks, the highest total through 6 games since we had 30 in 1985. I'll get into 1985 and the Steelers preview in a little bit. But for all you younger fans that aren't familiar with 1985, pretty good year. Giants are also on pace to finish the season with 73 sacks, which would easily break the franchise record of 68 set in 1985. Single season record is 72 by the 1984 Chicago Bears. Wild that the Bears were a playoff team in 84, but won the Super Bowl in 85. So I don't know. Maybe this is like we go and win the Super Bowl next year. Probably not. Dexter Lawrence had 2 of the sacks, raising his season total to a career high in NFL leading 9. Previous best was 7.5 sacks in 2022. And he's got to feel, and that's all I hear. That's all I see and hear is like, oh, we're wasting Dexter Lawrence. We're wasting Dexter Lawrence. And it's just like, hey, he's got a lot of money. And he seems to be having fun. Talks a lot of shit. So, I think he if he had his druthers, he would love to just do like grab the reporters' heads in the scrum in the huddle and just like bash them together like coconuts. Like he just wants to demolish all these fucking old white guys asking him the same question over and over after every loss. Giants have not intercepted a pass in their last 6 games. That's brutal. We knew the secondary was an issue coming into this season. I don't know that we've done a whole lot to remedy it. Tyler Nubin's good, usually leads the team in tackles almost every game. Drew Phillips has been a dog. He had another great play where on a wide receiver screen, he beats the block and tackles the guy for a loss. Nick McLeod blows. I thought he would be serviceable, and he just got burnt. So, yeah, I mean, I think you got to go. Oh, man. We're already talking NFL draft. The NFL draft is in fucking April. It's October. Season's not even half over. We're talking about the draft already. Quarterback with the first pick. He'll suck. And we'll be stuck with him for 4 years. And then CB1 with our round 2 pick, right? Even though all the good quarterbacks will be gone in the first round. So do you go free agent at quarterback, bridge the gap to Arch Manning? Hello, CB1 in the first round. That's the way to go. Anyway, I'm about done with Deonte Banks. It's just like the cons, I think, outweigh the pros with him. He feels like I don't remember watching him because I was way too young, but Michael Haynes, and maybe some older Giants fans can chime in, but Michael Haynes was like an all-pro Pro Bowler with the Giants, and from 81 to 80 something, he only played like 3 or 4 seasons, maybe 5. And then I think he was traded. I don't know why that came into my mind, but it was just like, it's like a really good corner that just lack of effort, lack of motivation, gets in his feels, and then just like stops playing elite football. I think it was 21-3 when the play happened in the fourth quarter. Hurts is scrambling and Banks kind of just lets up and is not chasing him full speed. I mean, it's blatantly, visibly clear on the tape, on the broadcast. There's another run by Barkley where Banks wants nothing to do with it and is just like kind of trotting after him. It's just not busting his ass, not giving maximum effort. And I guess the coaching staff was pretty pissed on the sideline. And it's just like, well, old school Giants coaches would have just benched him right there and then and been like, you're not playing the first quarter of the next game, or fine. I don't know, do something. But I guess the new age school of coaching and teaching will just be like, oh, well, go talk to your therapist. And so this is the quote from Banks when a reporter asked him about the lack of effort on the Jalen Hurts scramble. Quote, I really just thought he was going to slide or whatever, but it was a bad play by me. Bad effort play by me. I think I could have made it. I play this game because I love this shit. Sometimes you get frustrated out there when shit's not going your way. That's me just letting the emotions get the best of me. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you come into the league with your emotions not under control. How long does it take you to get your emotions under control? I mean, this is speaking as someone who, I've had an emotional, I don't know if you could tell and pick up on it, but my emotional intelligence is non-existent. So I'm the last person to be talking about controlling your emotions or whatever. And I try to impart that wisdom to my 6-year-old daughter. And I think it works, but it doesn't work on me. Can't figure it out. So I just think some people just can't figure it out, No matter how much work you do on yourself, it's gonna grab you. And I think it's kind of happening with Malik Neighbors, and it's kind of happening with Deonte Banks. And it's like, we're like counting on you guys to be the cornerstones, the foundation of the future of this franchise. And it's just like, I could very easily see both of them being like, we out. We're going to get our money somewhere else. So, hopefully it doesn't happen because, when they are on top of their game, I think they're going to be, they can be Pro Bowl, they can be all pro, but Banks has been so inconsistent with his effort. And I don't know. He's back to not being CB1 again. So yeah. Brian Burns playing hurt. He had a sack, a pass defended, 2 QB hits. Timon Fox had a sack. Aziz had another sack, QB hit. Nacho had a tackle for loss. Drew Phillips had 2 tackle for loss. Okereke has kind of been flying under the radar this year. Maybe I'm out of line saying that, but it just doesn't feel like. Is he a difference maker? Is he a playmaker? Is he just so consistent that it's not like he has bad plays and we're calling him out. He's not having great plays and calling him out. It's like he's just kind of there in the dark, in the gray area. Yeah, I mean, I don't, what else can you say about this defense? I mean, Jalen Hurts was 10 of 14 for 114 yards and a touchdown. A big bulk of that came on the 4th and 3 to A.J. Brown down the left sideline, where A.J. Brown looked like he pushed off on Nick McLeod, but again, not called because it's Philly and not the Giants. So, touchdown. Philly was 1 for 13 in third downs, but 3 for 3 on fourth downs. That's just the level of confidence that they have. They're just like, we're a 4-down team. As soon as we cross that 50-yard line, we're a 4-down team, especially against the Giants, because they have zero respect for us. And why would they? Why should they? And then, it took me 40 minutes to bring this up because I don't want to talk about it. It sucks. Saquon Barkley ran roughshod over us. 176 yards rushing on 17 carries. He averaged 10 yards a carry and a touchdown. He currently has more touchdowns at MetLife Stadium than Daniel Jones this season. The 176 yards were the most by a Giants opponent in the 15-season history of MetLife and the most since Carolina Panthers running back and former New York Giant Jonathan Stewart ran for 206 yards on December 27, 2009 in the final game in Giants Stadium. A.J. Brown, 5 catches on 5 targets, 89 yards at a touchdown. Saquon, only 2 catches, 11 yards on 3 targets. Devontae Smith, 1 catch, -2 yards. So it was like, all it takes is one big play. That's all it took. It was literally the 4th and 3 to A.J. Brown. As far as the passing game goes, that's all he needed. So, I mean, I've said, you can go and check back through the archives. I've said what I've said about Saquon. I don't hate Saquon the person. I hate Saquon the football player. Because I was watching Monday Night Countdown right before this. They had like a little the Chiron, the little lower third or whatever, the running ticker at the bottom, that was saying that he reached 21.9 miles per hour on one of his runs. It was like the second fastest this season. Didn't we say that he didn't have pull away speed? Didn't we say that? He's not who he was his rookie year. Didn't everyone say that? He's washed. You don't pay a 27-year-old running back. Like he's not going to be able to do. He can't do what he did in his rookie season. Like didn't people say that? Giants fans? And what a troll level genius move by him to say, like, I don't think I'm going to get booed, because he knew by saying that it would cause Giants fans to boo. Even the guys that were on the fence, they were like, I'm probably not going to boo him. You're going to boo him after that? Oh, they're not going to boo me. It's a challenge. And we stepped right in that pile of shit. We picked up the poop dollar, so to speak, and we booed. And what did he say after the game? He loved it because he fed off of it. So we literally fueled his record-setting performance against us. I still think, I'm not in this camp of like, he didn't have a legacy, because there was like a survey on The Athletic about him. And I was like, what is his Giants legacy? And it was like, he doesn't have a Giants legacy. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? He was building one and it was cut short because of like $1 million, $2 million. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, but you can hear it in him answering questions from reporters after the game. He's like, the fans are over it. They're sick of it. And it's almost like he was saying, I was sick of it. I was over it because it's a loser franchise doing loser shit. That's essentially decoding, reading between the lines. Like he was basically saying the Giants fans are over it, and he was saying I'm over it because it's a team that's not serious about winning. And then you look right down the turnpike. Oh, look down there. You can see. Let me get on the binocs and look down 95. That team is winning. They are taking winning seriously. And the players there look like they fucking love it. So I'm going to sign with them. And my Giants legacy, whatever it was, is gone forever, which in his mind, who cares? Because I'm now going to build a better legacy with the Eagles. And I get to be closer to my family, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, and again, this goes back to Shane making the wrong decision. He gave the contract to Daniel and not Saquon. You should have gave the contract to Saquon, franchise tag Daniel. And then, I mean, you could even, if, if 2023 rolls out like it did, the same way, I believe you can franchise tag Daniel again. And now you can see in 2024, oh, okay, he's not the answer. And you don't have to pay $22 million in dead cap money to cut him in the offseason. And if he gets hurt this season, you won't have to pay another $23 million for the friggin' injury clause or whatever the hell it is. Big time bonehead move. Yeah, and it's going to set us back. I mean, that's a lot of dead cap, dude. That's a lot of dead cap. You just can't get out of this dead cap hell. Feels like, and yet somehow we're not going to pay a $40 million quarterback to hand off to a $12 million running back. The Eagles aren't doing that. No, they're paying a $50 million quarterback to pay off to their $13 million running back. 269 rushing yards. Okay. All right. Just so we're on the same page here. So, and, I guess, bright side, you could say, this has allowed for us to see how good Tyrone Tracy Jr. is. Is Tyrone Tracy Jr. Saquon Barkley? And no. So, yeah. I mean, I forget who said it in Hard Knocks, but he was like, Saquon is like half of our offense. We're letting half of our offense walk out the door right now. You're okay with that? And they were like, yep. No one's going to want him. No one's going to pay him, especially not our rivals. They're not our rivals, by the way. And they'll say the same about us. They don't give. We are a doormat for them. So I don't know what it would take for John Mara to fire Brian Daboll. I don't know how many more of these games you can stomach, knowing that. And is it really as simple? I mean, I saw someone say when we fire Daboll, we should make Mike Kafka the interim head coach. Hey, crack kills. Okay? I know it looks cool in Wolf of Wall Street, but crack kills. What the fuck makes you think that Mike Kafka is going to be the interim head coach? The dude is not calling plays and is like a fucking figurehead, a puppet at offensive coordinator. Like, we wouldn't allow him to walk so that he could what? What is he doing exactly? He's not calling plays. Brian Daboll is doing everything in his power to save his own ass. And you want Mike Kafka to be the fucking coach. If anything, you would make Shane Bowen the interim head coach, because that's the one unit that has decided to show up and actually be decent. So stupid, dude. So yeah, that's Eagles Giants. Whatever, dude. I'm just tired of it, man. I tried watching, and it's just so ugly. And it's hard to believe that just one guy, Andrew Thomas, can make or break an offense. And it's not even make an offense. That's what I mean. I know a broken record at this point, but like the fact that if our left tackle goes down, our whole game plan and scheme goes to absolute shit and we can't do anything is pretty bad. So Hubbard, come out the cupboard. Save our season. Yeah, Eagles Giants. All right. Let's preview the Steelers-Giants game. This is a Monday night game because why not have a primetime game in with the national audience with the big spotlight shining on how much of a failed franchise we are and how dysfunctional we are. Why not put it on the biggest stage possible against one of the most intense, fiercest defenses in the league? Why not? At a Krischer Stadium. What happened to Heinz Field? Jesus Christ. Vegas has the Steelers at 3.5. I don't even understand how that's an actual line. I don't understand how they haven't pumped this up to like 5.5, 6.5, 7.5. You could put it at 10.5. But I guess it's just that's more of a commentary on the Steelers offense. I mean, I don't know. They just hung 37 on a Jets defense that's supposed to be like top of the top notch. They just scored 32 against the Raiders. So, 3.5 is very generous for the Giants, to be honest. So take the Steelers on the 3.5, and it's 37.5 over under. Take the fucking over. I was going to say the over, but take the under. Yeah. I think take the under. Because I think even if the Steelers score 37, we're going to score 0. So yeah, it's under. Take the under. Steelers are 5-2. They beat the Atlanta Falcons week 1, 18-10. They didn't beat the Broncos 13-6. They beat the Chargers 20-10. They somehow lose to the Colts in Indy 27-24. And then they drop one at home to the Cowboys. That was the weird weather game where it didn't start until like 10 o'clock or something like that. It didn't end until 1 a.m. And the weather was just awful. And then, they smoked the Raiders and then they smoked the Jets. So, and Russell Wilson is their quarterback. Interesting, because we brought him in for a visit and then we said, no, thank you. He signs with the Steelers and now he's starting and he's won. Now, granted, he still had some really awful plays in that game. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw clips and it was just like, ugh. But he's winning. Something Daniel Jones can't do. And he's scoring points. Something Daniel Jones can't do. Daniel Jones is now 6th in passing attempts, 4th in completions, and 13th in passing yards. How is that physically possible? Wan'Dale Robinson is in the top 10 in receptions across the entire league, 45th in receiving yards. Najee Harris is 7th in the NFL in rushing yards. Pickens is 9th in the NFL in receiving yards. So as much as everyone says like the Steelers offense sucks or is not great or doesn't score a lot of points, I don't know. It seems like they're doing pretty well. Kicker Chris Boswell, Steelers kicker Chris Boswell is tied for the most field goals made and attempted league-wide. And I know I was getting all pissy about us not scoring touchdowns and just scoring field goals and kicking field goals and missing field goals. But it'd be nice to lead the league in field goals because maybe you'd be 5-2. Punt returner Calvin Austin is top 10 in punt returns. Dante Jackson and Beanie Bishop are in the top 10 in interceptions. TJ Watt is tied for the 4th most tackles for loss and the 2nd most forced fumbles. But he's not in the top 10 sacks, which I found interesting, mainly because I think people just hold him left and right and they never call it. Of course, that's according to his brother JJ. Bias much? Last 5 matchups. We're going to do the last friggin' 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we'll do the last 8 matchups. What do you think about that? So we lead the all-time series 44-31 with 3 ties. In 2020, I think I bring this up every time a long drive goes off the rails towards the goal line. This was the opener, 2020 season opener at home to an empty MetLife against Pittsburgh. In primetime, we were up 10-3 after Darius Slayton caught a 41-yard touchdown at the start of the second quarter, and then we went down 16-10 at the half. We had 20 first downs, 279 passing yards. We were 8 for 15 on third down, but DJ threw 2 costly interceptions. One, of course, was on that long-ass drive where he gets hit, pops up in the air, interception, scoring opportunity over. 2016, 4 years prior, we have not played the Steelers a lot, especially before they updated the scheduling, because I don't know if it was before 2000 or whatever, but like since 2000 we played them every 4 years. Mostly because we don't I don't know if it's Is it NFC or AFC? Same place finisher, right? We have not finished in the same place as the Steelers. You want to take a wild guess why? In the last 12, 14, 15 years? Because they're always in the playoffs. And we are not. Okay. So 2016, the Steelers led the entire game. It was 14-0 at half, 24-7 with under 2 to play. Pittsburgh was 7 for 15 on third down. 2012, it was right after Halloween, right after the Hurricane Sandy decimated Jersey Shore, New York City, metropolitan area. I watched this at my uncle's place in West Orange because my apartment was without power for an extended period of time. Giants were up 20-10 thanks to a Michael Boley fumble return for a touchdown, 70 yards, something like that. Pittsburgh scores 14 in the fourth quarter for the win. Yikes. The Steelers had 158 rushing yards. The Giants were 2 for 10 on third down. Eli had a 41.1 quarterback rating. Barf. 2008, one of the last games I watched with my grandfather before he passed away days later, a week later. He was 90. Born in 1918. Can you believe that? He saw the first year. I don't know if he saw it. TVs weren't a thing, right? He heard about the Giants' first ever game as a franchise in 1925. He was 6 or 7. It's insane. He was a Giants fan all his life, and he had a bar called the Stadium in Spring Lake or Seagirt. I forget what it's called now. I've been to it. It's all right. It's across the road from Pat's or something like that. Rod's. I think it's Rod's. Right near the intersection there. And man, I always thought I was gonna be successful enough in my own life. Please hold your laughter. That I would open I would reopen the stadium. It'd be like the Stadium 2 or something like that. That's never happening. I guess he had to close it down because his partners were cheating him or the employees were skimming off the top and it was out of control. But if you were to believe my mother, in the 70s when the Giants sucked, maybe this is the reason the Giants sucked was because of the stadium. A lot of the Giants would go there because my grandfather was friends with Alex Webster and Gil McDougall from the Yankees, I want to say. So Giants would come in there and drink probably on the house all they wanted in the 70s. And my mother is very hush-hush when it comes to her interactions with Giants players in the 70s. I'll just put it that far. But apparently my grandfather would have a bus, like a party bus that would, everyone comes to the stadium, the bar, get on the party bus, drink your face off, go tailgate Giants Stadium, watch the game, come back out, get back on the party bus, and it drives you home. It's literally my dream. It's like if that could be my life, speak it into existence. Manifest destiny. 2008. So that was one of the last games I watched with my grandpapa, Hal, the Prince, they would call him. John Carney, not a prince by any means, had 4 field goals. James Harrison snapped the punt out of the end zone for a safety. Eli hits Kevin Boss for a winning score with 3 minutes left. And Big Ben is sacked 5 times, 2.5 times by Matthias Kiwanuka. And we forced 4 interceptions. We picked him off 4 times. So, the good old days. The 2008 Giants. Oh boy, that one still hurts to this day. That season. 2004, right before Christmas break. This is my first year living in Hoboken, home of the broken. Right before Christmas break, right before I was going down to, my family was still in Jersey. My dad was still alive. So right before I was going home for the holidays and the Manasquan, I watched this at Liberty Bar and Grill in Hoboken up on 14th or 15th Street, which has since closed. But man, that was a great spot to watch a game. Willie Ponder took the opening kickoff to the house. Eli Manning played basically his first good to great game. I think he had a QB rating of 103.9. 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh had 27 first downs, 160 rushing yards, 326 passing yards, and were 8 for 16 on third down with 35 minutes possession. And somehow we only lost by 3 points. It was 33-30. We ended up winning the 2008 game, 21-14. Going back to 2000, we smoked Pittsburgh 30-10. We had 20 first downs, 0 turnovers, 9 for 14 on third down. Kerry Collins went 24-35 for 333 yards and 2 touchdowns with 117.9 quarterback rating. Are we ever going to see that again from a Giants quarterback? It feels like no. Amani Toomer, in his 4th or 5th year at the team, had targeted 13 times, caught 9 balls for 136 yards and a touchdown. And then this is when it got a little bit, I mean, I'm going back as far as I can remember. So I was born in 80, so I'm going back that far. 94 was the previous time that we played them before 2000. Giants were up 6-3 at half. There was 9 fumbles in the game, 3 interceptions, 7 total turnovers, only 8 first downs for the Giants. Guess who was the quarterback? I'm like fairly certain it was Dave Brown, Duke University Blue Devil. I hope I never see another Duke quarterback on the Giants ever again. 1 for 14 on third down. Steelers, we were 1 for 14 on third down. So 30 years later, we're literally we're going to relive what we're seeing here. Steelers running back Bam Morris, great name, ran for 146 yards on 29 carries. Are you picking up a theme? 91. We were up 20-0 after Dave Meggett's rushing touchdown in the third quarter. Pittsburgh came back to tie it up 20-20 in the fourth. Matt Barr hit the game-winning field goal from 44 yards, which for Matt Barr is like 64 yards. Giants rushed for almost 200 yards. We went to a 4-3 on the season after that win. And then we lost the next 2 games and 3 of our last 4 to finish 8-8. We probably should have gone 7-9. We were 7-5 when December started. It was Ray Hanley's first year after Bill Parcells retired. Jim Fossil was our quarterback coach. What do you know? And then the last one before we move on to this year's game was 1985. It was the regular season finale, December 21st, before Christmas. The regular season ended. Giants put up 28 points in the first half, with 21 of those coming in the second quarter. 3 rushing touchdowns from Pro Bowl running back Joe Morris, and a touchdown pass from Pro Bowl quarterback Phil Simms to wide receiver Bobby Johnson, one of my favorite Giants wide receivers of all time. Love that dude. And I don't know why. Is it that he's 88? Is that it? Bobby Johnson, cool name. We started the season, 85 season, 3-3 and finished 10-6. And we probably should have been 11-5. We had a 3-point loss to Green Bay in week 2, a 1-point loss to Dallas in week 5, a 5-point loss to Cincinnati, a 2-point loss to Washington in week 11, and a 2-point loss to Cleveland in week 13. Dear God. We hosted the Niners in the wild card, winning 17-3. I watched that over the pandemic when there were no sports. Highly recommend, especially when you are browned out. I'm going to say browned out. And then we obviously lost the Bears in the divisional round 21-0, where Sean Lynetta literally missed a punt because it was so windy. He missed the ball with his foot because it was so windy. I'm probably lying about that. I think his punt went like 0 yards or something like that. It was a bad punt. But yeah, 21-0. Which, I'm into what ifs type stuff, alternate universe stuff, because my life sucks so much. And I often think about, like, what if we did win that week 5 game against Dallas, the week 2 game against the Packers, the week 11 game against Washington? What if we did win 1, 2 to 3 of those? We wouldn't have to go to Chicago. We could probably host Chicago, and it might have been a different story. Of course, Chicago goes on to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, 46-10. So that brings us to 2024. Welcome to the future. It still sucks. Like I said, 0-4 at home for us. Pittsburgh is 3-1 on the road. They are second in points allowed per game. They are third in takeaway differential at +9, and they are 9th in rushing yards per game. Oh, this is going to be ugly. Their defense is also third in rushing yards allowed per game, whereas we are 25th in rushing yards gained per game, and we are 25th in rushing yards allowed per game. And like I said, they're ninth. So they're going to run and run and run. We are not going to be able to run. And I wouldn't be shocked if Daniel Jones has to throw it 50, 40 times and complete maybe half of it and throw for 200 yards, probably. Maybe, if we're lucky. So I think you can pick up on what I'm putting down. Holy fuck, we're going to get smoked. And not smoked by like a lot of points, I don't think. I think it's just going to be, it's going to be one of those games where it's like, it's close, but it's really not close. Do you know what I mean? Like for any other team, it would be close. It's like, oh, we're down by 7, but that 7 might as well be 70. That's the kind of game we're going to see. It's like, we're not going to be able to move the ball at all against the Steelers defense. We're not going to be able to run. And then we're going to have to throw and throw and throw. I think Malik Neighbors probably gets like 15 targets and probably like 7 or 8 catches for like 70 yards, maybe. I don't think he scores a touchdown. Maybe we get a field goal. Ugh, it's going to be so brutal. So very brutal. And this is not, I think, you know, sometimes I like to put the reverse jinx on things. This is not a reverse jinx situation. We are going to get our asses handed to us on Monday night. Can't flex out of it, huh? Can't flex out of it? Are you sure? So it's going to get ugly. And I don't know that it's going to get much better down the road. Yeah, so that's Steelers Giants. I mean, the preview. I mean, if you're game planning for this, it's like, all right, let's try to game plan for this. You've tried this whole quick, get it out of his hands quick thing. It blows. It's not scoring points. It doesn't move the ball. It sucks. I don't like it. I hate it. I think the entire fan base hates it. I really do think we should just try every play, every pass play. No one runs a route fewer than 5 yards. I think that's a pretty reasonable compromise. And I'm all for like, just run no more 2 and 3 yard routes with the wide receivers and the tight ends. And if you want, and maybe this is where the screen game comes into play. And because of the pass rush, and our screen game is actually not that bad this year. It's going to be, maybe we throw a lot of screens at them. And so then that can bring them up and then we can throw down the field. I don't see how we're going to be able to run the ball. We have not shown any kind of consistent production in the run game. So I don't see how that's going to really change. And it's going to be on Daniel. And, he's not going to win. We're not going to win. But I guess what I'm saying is just give us something entertaining. Like, I don't want to watch. Like, if we're going to do 11 punts, let's at least make like, it shouldn't be 3 and out, and it shouldn't be we gained 8 yards on 3 passes. Like, ugh. That's not, I mean, is that football? Is that even fucking football, dude? Like, I just, hey, it's a lost season. Go out guns blazing, please. Just please. 5-step drop, ins, digs, outs. Just let your burners burn. Run some verts. And if he can't hit him, he can't hit him. I'd rather see that than this dink and dunk bullshit that goes nowhere. Stop calling those plays. There should be 0 plays where that's an option, especially on first down and especially on second down. If it's 3rd and 2, maybe. Like, we're at that point in the season where it's like, or with this offense that it's like, unless it's 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3, you shouldn't be running a 2 or 3 yard route at all, ever. 5 yards minimum. We're going to get crushed. Anyway, coming up after the Steelers, we are entering November, baby. Home game against the Commanders. That's an L. I mean, unless Jaden Daniels' rib situation is worse than we expected, I haven't heard much about it. Mariota, like I said, looks pretty good in relief. So maybe we'll make that one close, but that still feels like a loss. That Panthers game in Germany is it starts at 9:30 start time Eastern. It's in Germany. It's the day after my birthday. I'm probably going to be so hungover. I might just keep it going. I might just pull an all-nighter. I mean, I have to take my daughter at some point that day, so I can't get too wasty pants. But yeah, I think the only one worse than Daniel Jones was Andy Dalton for Carolina. So we're going to see two bad teams do really bad things against each other, and they're going to televise it. Whoa. I might just sleep through that one. Just catch the highlights. I don't think anyone needs to watch that. And then we get a bye. Yes. There's a God, because there's a week in the regular season where we're not going to lose. We're not losing the bye week. I'll tell you that much. And then the week before Thanksgiving, we host the Buccaneers. It's hard not. I mean, like, I know Baker Mayfield has said some shit about the Giants drafting Daniel Jones, and we had a vendetta against Baker Mayfield, but I feel like that's Baker, you were right. We should have traded up for you. Is that what you want to hear? I love that he's with Tampa, and I love that they're doing good. Tampa has always been a sneaky, like, backup favorite of mine. You know, like, if the Giants are out of it and the Bucks are in the playoffs, I'm rooting for the Bucks. So that's a loss, I would think. And then Thanksgiving Day. Oh, it's going to be amazing. I don't even know if my family is going to let me watch this on Thanksgiving Day. That's how bad the Giants. They might be like, no, we're watching a movie, dude. Get your shit and go out to the barn. Yeah, 4:30 game against the Cowboys in Dallas. And as much as Dallas has been struggling, it does not matter. They have our number no matter what we do. So we're going to lose that one. When we host the Saints, Saints are weird. Spencer Rattler blows. Derek Carr got hurt. I don't know for how long when he comes back. Their defense is usually pretty good. Their offense looked like it was clicking at one point. But now Rashid Shaheed has a torn meniscus surgery. I think he's out for the season, something like that. So maybe they're on the ropes. So maybe we get a win there, but no, it's probably a loss. Then we host the Ravens. That's a loss. We're at Atlanta. Kirky. That's a loss. And then we're home against the Colts. And this, my friends, is where we get another loss. And then we open the new year. January 5th, 2025 in Philadelphia. The best, most perfect place to start the new year for fresh beginnings and a new you and a new Giants. And depending on whether or not they clinch the playoffs, it could be a loss or a win. I'm going to go on a limb and say that. If they have clinched a playoff spot and their seed is secure and nothing will change it, maybe they play their backups, and I don't know, maybe we still lose. Maybe we still lose against their backups. I think we still lose against their backups. So, I joke around a lot, but I mean, the ceiling for this team, best case scenario, where nothing else on other teams really changes that dramatically or drastically. Like if Lamar Jackson gets hurt and goes down, I would say if Dak gets hurt, but we can't beat Dak's backup. That's been proven time and time again. Baker Mayfield goes down. I think Joe Flacco can step in for the Colts and beat us. So I have our ceiling at 4-13 or 5-12, which I think is what a lot of people predicted. 5-12 or 6-11 coming into the season. I was like, you're out of your mind. And now it's like, no, actually, Neal, plot twist, M. Night Shyamalan style, you, my friend, are out of your mind. So that's the Giants. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I don't know if I'll talk to you about the Giants next week. I guess if we win, I'll talk. And that is like the definition of a fair weather fan, but I don't give a fuck anymore. It's been raining on me for so long, for so long. The weather has been such shit for so long. I don't know how the Browns fans do it. I don't know how the Lions fans did it for 30 some odd years. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. Could I go? I don't know if I'm at year, what is this? What year is it? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, it's the 11, 12, 13 seasons. We did make the playoffs twice, so. Could I go another 17 years? Can I go another 4 years? I just don't want to see Brian Dable anymore, and I don't want to see Daniel Jones anymore. Okay? That's the Giants. Adios, muchachos.